Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching, welcome to Real Life Reviews. And in this video, we're taking a look at the Speedfil front hydration system. And we're going to split this into two parts. I'm going to break the system down so you can see what it's made of, what you get if you do order it. And then I'm going to show you it in situ on my tri bike, my Coup, and I'm going to explain why it's become my go-to hydration system for racing, full stop. Let's start by taking a look at what you get in the package, so to speak. Now you can buy a bespoke mounting kit for this system, but we're not looking at that. And the bottle, more about the bottle in a moment, fits the standard bottle cage. We're just looking at this system. So you do get a Velcro strap, very handy, and you get 4 meaty cable ties. Again, do a good job. You also get a bit of a thermal sleeve for the up tube. In hot weather, it can keep the liquid when you've charged the system quite cool. I'm not using it, I don't feel the need. And there'll be some out there into their marginal gains that will suggest that that's slightly more air resistant. That's a rabbit hole we're not diving down today. The main system, as I said, it comes with a bottle. If I take the bottle off, we have 2 tubes. And these tubes come in the same length. They've been cut down and the length is approximately 3 centimeters longer than this long one I've got that goes into the tube. I've cut it shorter so it fits to the back of the tube, and I've cut an angle in it at about 45 degrees so that I can excavate as much fluid from the bottle as possible. You get an elbow joint and you get a bite valve. And obviously I've cut this tube down quite a lot. And in putting them together, my tip of the day, what I did was I got a kettle, boiled it, put the boiling water, the hot water into a vacuum flask, and then put thermos flask, and then put the tube into the hot water. It then got hot, more pliable, expanded a bit, easy to push them on, and then they cool and make a really tight join, and they've been brilliant. So the tube goes into the front through a grommet. It's quite a tight fit to get it going, and then even more so as you push closer to the joint and the tube is expanding a bit, you get a perfect seal. I've not had any leak out of the front. The main part of the system here, which is you could call another elbow or an L joint, has a cap on top that you can move across to fill, and that goes straight into the bottle area, and close to stop. Really simple. So if I just undo the top, we have a screw-on system and we have an O-ring. Really good O-ring. That saves me taking it out. I've just cleaned it so it's not stuck to the top. That O-ring, as you can see, actually closes the gap to this moving part. So that minimises the area where you will get, or potentially will get, a little bit of spillage. More about that in a moment. This opening trapdoor system, so just comes in a cup that sits in and comes apart. There's the cup with a direct access to the fluid. Your little ball of a trapdoor sits in it, and that's how the main part works. In addition, where we join to the bottle, if I can get my finger in, we have, there we go, another O-ring. So we get a really good seal from the main unit to the bottle, and again, I've never had any spillage whatsoever in that area. Putting this back together, the cup just goes in, I put it where I want my door to be, so to speak, and I don't close it fully, otherwise I will trap that in when I put the top on. So I just leave it part open. I've got the O-ring nice there, and I'm just going to put the top on. And if we get leakage, so I'm now going to make sure, just loosen it again, get it to where I want it. I'm now going to make sure I've got my trapdoor in position that I want it and can use it. If you're going to get any leakage, it's going to be around this movement of the ball. And you can reduce that pretty much to nothing by screwing down really tight. But if you screw down too tight, you can't easily, with one hand, open it. So there's a little bit of a compromise there. You can eliminate spillage pretty much, but it's about minimizing it. And once you've had a bit of the fluid out of the bottle, then you don't get any spillage. The other thing you can do as well is you can mount the bottle so it's at a slight angle, and you can buy wedges for this. I use a single profile design wedge, and I'll put a link to that review of that at the end of this video. So if you tilt your bottle, once you've had a little bit of fluid, then it's well away from here. Back to the bottle. The system itself has a very specific thread, and it's been made and designed to fit specialized water bottles. That's great if you have specialized water bottles. Most other water bottles from nutrition companies, bike manufacturers, various sponsors, whoever makes them, have a different thread. They're not always the same. There are some differences, and there's wide neck and narrow neck. But you can find a number that fit each other's top systems. What I'm getting at is this won't. This only fits the specialized, and as far as I'm aware, and please comment if you know different and let us know, please do, but this specialized are the only bottles that have this thread, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, and we'll put it out there. So that's one potential downer, although you do get a bottle with it. You might want a bigger bottle. I've bought a bigger bottle, and I've also bought one the same size, simply because I prefer the colour and it goes with my bike better when I have one that size. How big are they? You look at that and you think it's a 500ml bottle. Well, they're American sizes. So the smaller one is 21 fluid ounces, which is 621 millilitres. And then the larger bottle is 24 fluid ounces, which I believe comes out at 710 millilitres. So it's a bit bigger than your normal 500, and you can also argue that with the end on, it is still a bit bigger still. So you've got, I don't know, I think you've potentially got 700 ml on this. Now, I've shown you the system. This is meant to be a review. So how does it work? Absolutely brilliantly. And I'm just about to show you it on my bike, and I'll put this one on. But the key question with all these systems is, does it leak? And the bottom line is, yes, it does, because you have to have air coming into it somewhere, otherwise you get vacuums and so on. And ultimately, this is going to leak in the top here. That's where you've got to get the balance right between tightening the top and being able to open it one-handed. It's also where you might need to think about the angle of fitting your bottle, and you can get various wedge systems, and at the end I'm going to put a link to somewhere up above to the Profile Design wedge system, which I think is brilliant, and I use one of theirs. If you tilt it back a bit, you're going to make sure you get much of the liquid, particularly my bike, which is tilted slightly forwards. If you tilt it back a bit, but also you're moving the fluid further away from the potential leak point. So here we are with the blue bottle mounted onto my race bike, and you can see, if I just come in a little bit, you can see the wedge just underneath, just pointing to it now. You can see the wedge, and if I move away, you should get an idea that that's a very slight angle to it. And where the hose is that's just letting you into why I believe this is the best system for me. Quite simply, this is the best system for me because it enables me to drink in both the aero position and on the bullhorns, on the bars, with minimal adjustment of position, ease, comfort, you name it. And if you've watched this channel a bit, you'll know that I use X-Lab's torpedo system on my well, my old road bike, my Colnago with clip-ons. I used it on my Argon 18 and I actually really love it. The problem with this was that, well, basically I couldn't use it on the Coup to start with because where the bento box was, which is designed aero and fills that slot, it needed a bottle that could come to here, and I couldn't get, the torpedo would fit pretty much like that. It wouldn't fit with the bento box there, and up there it was just far too far forwards for me. I've tried the profile design, and funnily enough, the bike was designed with profile design in mind, but the tube system at the back, and if I just hold a bit of tube there, that was far too close to me. It was under my chest and it caused all sorts of issues of getting hold of the tube. I've tried longer tubes, and here's one that I've actually used. It's got some electrical tape here to give a better seal. It's got a bike valve put in from a rucksack of all things. I've tried using, I'm just looking around, here we go. I've tried routing this tube all over. This is a magnetic fit system from a climbing or hiking rucksack that you can put on the tube, and I've just never got it right. I've in the past used things like this, the Hydro Blade. That doesn't fit this bike, so that's out the window, as are various other options of that. So the Speedfil basically puts me in a position that is absolutely ideal. Just have a look at this with me standing over the bike. Yeah. So here I am, basically in my aero position, and if I get my hands right, get my head right, that's my position now. And I have got the bottle slightly on my chin because I like to feel where it is. I can just tuck it under, or I can just move the tube slightly to the side, and that's fine. And if I want to take a drink, if I'm getting into a really, really lower CDA, into a more aero position, I can just do that and then put it out with my tongue. It's as simple as that. Why is this the best one for me? That's the reason. It solves my positional hydration problem. Full stop. Is this the best front hydration system? Well, the answer is, for me, yes. Is it for you? Well, that depends entirely on your setup and what you want from the hydration system. Does it leak more than others? No. It's actually pretty damn good, especially if you get it set up with a nice angle and pretty tight on the front. But I go back to my previous point. It's all down to how you, your bike and the system work together and what you want from it. So I think personally it's brilliant, and it is my current system of use. And in 3 weeks time, give or take a day or two, I'm going to be using this at Ironman Kalmar, no question. So yeah, the Speedfil, quite frankly, for me, the best. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like, give it that thumbs up, and share it with your friends. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. It does wonders for the channel. Just click on the little round picture down there. Up there is a review of the profile design wedge that I use on the bike, and on that side, a couple of other front hydration systems that might just be right for you. Thanks again.